Here we go. Ready? Oh, who's better than me? Yeah. Hey, what's happening? Alright, well, now that I have the lid with the hinges on it, ready to go, it fits well, I cleaned it all up, I went to the school, we ran the molded edge on it, and it looks great. I had to readjust the hinges a little bit, and when I go back to put the hinges on, I'll show you what I'm talking about. But now, the next step, after the lids, cut, fit, hinge, all that stuff, it's where it wants to be. It's time to put the lock in, okay? And these locks are tricky, and putting in the lock is really, it's kind of easy once you learn how to do it, but like the level of concentration that you need to have the first couple times you do it, it's really terrifying, to be honest with you, because you put so much work into the piece, whether it's a door or a drawer or whatever it is that you have, you know what I mean? And to take the lock and have to cut a massive mortise into it, it's pretty scary because you only have one shot at it. If you make a mistake, you know, it's like game over. Alright, so this is what I do. Alright guys? See if I can explain this a little bit. Alright, here we are. Now, you can see that the lock, it's sweet, huh? This is a really nice lock. It's like 65 bucks. But I think it's worth it. You see how the keyhole is off center? It's off to the left a little bit. Now you have to remember that when you go to put it on the lid. You see where the center line is on the lid? This is dead ball center. But you see the offset of the lock? So what I do, you see the line that I have here? You see it? I just came down from the center of the pin, came around, and then what I do, I put the center line of the pin on the center line of the door like this, okay? And then I just mark the two sides of the body of the lock. You know what I'm saying to you guys? Let's give you maybe a better view. You see what I mean? So I transferred this dimension onto the writing surface. Well, it's the lid. You know, I always get it confused. Writing surface, lid. You know, me still bashing everything, but whatever. So the first step I need to do is cut out the body dimension. Now this body dimension is pretty fat, and it's not only the body dimension, it's the body dimension plus the thickness of the whatever that's called, the plate. You know what I mean? But you don't want to put this plate on first because you need to cut the mortise in for the face of it, because this is what dictates where you put the edge of it. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut the body out for now. I'm going to fit it and make sure that it fits. Okay? And then from there, I'll mark the two sides, and then I'll house it this way, and then I'll cut the body out at the end. You know, I've probably put in maybe 50 of these things in my lifetime, so I kind of have it down a little bit, I think. But this is the second time I've ever put like a, you know, what the hell is this thing called? A lid lock. So I'm a little nervous, you know, whatever. So let me get to cutting this out, and no, to be honest with you, I'm just going to mark it out with a knife, and then we're going to cut it out with the little Bosch Colt at this dimension plus that, because I want it to be a little more than what it needs to be, so I don't have to wrestle with it. Alright? Alright. So when I get that done, we'll pick it up afterwards. Nice, huh? I freaking hate that. Look at me. Well, I'm covered in shit now. I'm too handsome for this stuff, fellas. You know? I hate that. Man, I really hate routers, but it's a lot easier than bashing it out with a chisel and hammer. Okay, well, check it out. Now, what I've got to do, can you see me? Where am I? Where am I? There we are. Okay. What I need to do is just clean it out a little bit with a chisel, okay, so this body fits in there nicely. And then once it fits in there nicely, I need to kind of clean out the bottom of this, because you can see that the pin sticks below the body, so you kind of just have to, you know, clean it out with a little gouge. I'll show you that when I get to it. So let me clean out this slot right here, house the body, and then I'll get back to you. All right. I also forgot to mention, and this is kind of a drag, the way that these locks come sometimes is that this body right here on the lock is just too big, because it's only a 3/4 inch lid, you know what I mean, and it has a 1/4 inch lip on it, so this part of the body is just way too big. So basically what I need to do, guys, and it's kind of a pain in the ass, I totally forgot about this because I haven't done it in so long, I gotta take this much material off the front of this thing. See that? Because this needs to house inside the rabbet, well, the lipped edge, you know what I'm saying to you? So you know what, it's not that hard. I just have to, it's brass, so it's pretty soft. I'm just gonna file it off. There are probably 100 different ways you could probably try to do this, you know, with all sorts of like maybe a grinding wheel or this or that, but it's so soft that it's only gonna clog your grinding wheel, you know what I mean? And to be honest with you, it's probably gonna take me 10-15 minutes tops to blast it out with a mill file. A mill file and a little wire brush, and you know, you make pretty quick work of this stuff. So I have to do that first. I just wanted to let you know, sometimes, you know, if the lock isn't what you need to retrofit it to your work. It's not the other way around, you know. But it would be nice if you could, I guess. I don't know. People try to order all their hardware before they build this stuff. I've just never been that type of guy. I probably should. It'd make my life a lot easier. All right, and now that I've got the body of this thing filed down, you see that? It's flush to the body. Whatever you want to call this thing, I don't know, whatever. What I need to do is I need to locate where the locking pin is. This thing right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint it with a marker. Not a marker, but a marker. Okay? Okay, you see that? Everybody? Check it out. See how I have a marker in there? That's the point of where it's at. Now that's not the location of it, okay guys? The location is going to be further, the thickness of the body here, because it has to go this way more. So I'm just going to kind of take the material out from, look at me holding the camera in one hand and trying to do this with the other. I am multi-talented, everybody. Okay, see what's happening here? Now I'm going to go beyond that. So hopefully, oh yeah, another tip. Don't put the tools on the finished friggin' piece of wood here. Now see how it sits in there perfectly? From here, I'm just going to draw these outline lines on the left and the right and the sides of the body and take that material out, and then it'll be able to sit down flush, and then... Alright, well, here we go. Now, another little tip here, okay guys? See how it has a little bit of movement in there? What I like to do is I like to hold it to one side. Alright? Either way, I don't care, whichever way you want to go. I think I'm going to hold it closer to this side because it was... Oops, sorry. Always moving stuff. I see. It's hard filming all this stuff by yourself all the time. Alright, but anyways, I'm just going to hold it to one side. This is it. There's really no turning back. If I mess this up, you know, I'm really in for a bad time. So I'm just going to score it. I don't want to get carried away with this, you know what I mean? I'm going to come up this way. Alright. The heck, I might as well do the back, even though I know that this isn't the line, you know? And I'm still keeping pressure on this side wall over here that I decided to go with. You know, if I mess this up here, it'd be a shame. If you're gonna make a mistake, you'd rather do it right off the bat than at the very, very end. Right? Alrighty. Now, can you see those lines? See that it's not very deep? So what I need to do is I need to go along with my chisel. Chisel. And like with this line right now, I don't want to hit it with the mallet. I just kind of push down on it with pressure. Okay? And then I just take that little chunk out, guys. And that's how it's done. So I'm just going to get to doing this, removing all this material, and then when it gets time to set it, I'll turn the camera back on. Alright guys, well now you can see that I have the outline of the lock kind of already cleaned out and blah 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 blah. Now, the next thing you can do is take a router plane, okay, or your chisel, and just remove this material, alright? You know, to be honest with you, I kind of do it with a chisel for the most part, you know? See? I just kind of get in there. But you got to be careful. See where I'm at now? If I push too hard, I'm really going to bust out the front of this thing, and it's going to make for a really ugly ass repair. So, what you can do is you can take your router plane, okay? You just have to make sure that you don't go in too deep, alright? You see how like I'm set really way too deep. So, you just have to play with this thing, you know? And get it to where it takes the material out. Kind of gingerly, you know what I'm saying? But it's a great tool once you learn how to use it. The only thing I really don't like about these things is that they mark the surface of my working surface. You following what I'm saying here? But usually, to be honest with you, what I do is this. I take my chisel, and I can see the line because of what I did, if you remember, same as with the hinges. I set the marking gauge to the thickness of the steel, whatever, it's, you know, brass. And then I ran it along the inside of the mortise before I took this material out, okay? So I ran along a line on the inside there, so, you know, I don't know if I'll be able to zoom in so you can see it, but maybe. You see the marking gauge line right there? I think you can see it. So I have a marking gauge line there. So that's basically the boss line. And all I need to do is approach it with my chisel. Nice and easy. So I'll come in a little bit with the chisel and I'll take material out, okay? Always pushing down with my right hand. Like, I push down a lot. I mean, it's hard for me to push this thing in there. And then I'll come along and I'll continually come down on the line. Kind of like a dovetail, you know what I mean? And then I'll take that material out. Now it's very, very, like, wicked important not to get the corner of your chisel underneath this cheek here, because it'll just peel all that wood off, and then, you know, you'll be stuck with a nasty repair. Alright, that's pretty freaking good, everybody. So, moment of truth. I'll turn my back to you. No, I'm a lefty, remember? I should probably have the camera on the right side, but it's always hard to know where to put the freaking camera. It's not like I have a good side, you know? Well, not like I have a bad side. Alright, man, that's the line. That's like it. I f*** this up. Forget about it. Forget about it. Can you see it? Can you see it? Oops, sorry. Alright, now you just can't be mushing this in there, alright? What I like to do is I like to take this little piece of corner out, because this is, sometimes that piece of wood creates a serious problem. I suppose you don't have to use the 1-inch chisel, I just do. That's what I got in my hand, you know? This piece of wood is really fragile. I mean, wicked, you know? So I'm just going to come in and push down on it. I don't want to push too hard because it'll break off. It's so suspenseful, isn't it? Like, this isn't like a dry run or nothing, guys. This is it, man. If I screw this up, it's gonna make for a very unhappy deep chisel. See, I'm afraid to come in this way and mush it. So what I do is I put the chisel upside down, and I just take the piece of wood out of there. No problem, fellas. No problem. You know, you just gotta know how to use this chisel. Chisel, chisel. And I just take it off this way, see? You know, I didn't need to use that router plane. That was just for you guys. So now I have to sand out this whole friggin' thing. It's alright. It's okay, fellas. Whatever it takes. Well, you think it's gonna fit? I don't know, really. I'll see. We shall see, everybody. All right, now you see how it's rocking in there? You know what that's cause? It's because of the pin still. It's still the pin. Now you have to be careful and don't get frustrated when you're taking this material off of the pin, because you gotta drill a hole here. That's how you get the key inside there, you know what I'm saying? Which is a whole different set of stressful stuff to have to freaking worry about. So I just clean out that hole a little bit more, and I think it's hitting on this corner. So I'll just take a little more material out of there. Oh, ho, ho. Man, I'm telling you, pretty freaking good. Still balding a little bit, and I think I need to take some material out of here, or maybe off here, because it's definitely housed properly. You know? I mean, look at that bad boy, huh, fella? I'm gonna take the camera off there. Alright guys, well now you can see that I have the lid on. There's a hole drilled out for the key. I won't take this material until I have the escutcheon to where I know where I need to take it off, you know what I mean? So check it out. Oh yeah, baby. Sweet, right? Now all I needed to do with the lock was just to put the screws in. So obviously there are the screws, and it's in there. It's nice and flush, and it works perfectly. And I have to wait until I get the escutcheon. I mean the striker plate, because it gets mortised in here and it gets locked. So I'll do that once that stuff gets in there. But that's how you put the lid on. It's kind of tough, but as long as you just methodically, you know, go along and don't get confused and don't get overwhelmed, and make sure you have a sharp chisel and just quadruple check all your layout lines, you know, it'll fit perfectly. Check this out. Remember I was showing you how I had a little bit of a problem over here in the corner because it wasn't closing all the way? What I needed to do, I don't know if you guys are, you know, paying attention enough to remember that this was stepped out just a little bit more beyond the center pin. What I had to do is I had to drop it back towards the case. So what it does is it shortens the pivot point. So there was a gap that was open on the side, on the bottom. So what happens is when you move this hinge and you close that pivot point, it just makes for a tighter joint. But there's a trade-off, and I'll show you that in a second. See, you know, T-chisel is all showing. Let me tell you, a lot of guys will probably want to hide these little things, but I'm just going to show them to you. But look at that. I mean, I'm really pleased with the way that this lid fits. You know, I mean, it's totally perfect all the way around. There's no tight, I mean, there's no open joints down here. Oops, I'm still carrying on the tripod. See right here? I mean, that's tight all the way around. But there's a trade-off. When I move that center point of the hinge, what it does, it makes the, look, I'll just zoom in and show you. It makes the gap on the bottom too big. You see that? That's like a little less than 3/16, a little less than over there. Now there's always, it's kind of hard when you build stuff this way, because you see how there's less space in the middle and there's more on the ends. It's probably because of this platform's not totally flat and I don't have the feet on and all that stuff, so it makes for a little difficulty, you know, but that's the trade-off. either you have a gap on the side, or and this gap down here is a little lower, or you know, you have the gap here on the bottom. And I opted for the gap on the bottom because I wanted the lid to fit tightly. But you're never going to see that. I mean, we're right up on top of it. Now, here I am looking at it, you know, from maybe 8 feet away. And you don't even notice it. And once all those drawers go in, you'll never notice it. Alright guys, well now that I have that done, it's off to the upper doors. Finally. And I'll get to doing that once I get to doing that. Alright. Thing's awesome, huh? See ya.